Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the second half of the season for the PRL Indy Pro 2000 Elite Series here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We're past halfway, and we are headed to Circuit de Spa Francorchamps here in Belgium, and this is going to be a slipstreaming haven today. Plenty of opportunity for overtaking. We're really looking forward to what should be an enthralling race, and you'll see it all live right here on GSRC. My name is Ryan Jones. Alongside me in the booth, Ossian Pahaka, Joe Peak behind the scenes using cameras provided by Dougie Beard, and also DJ Clark sat in the pit reporter's booth as well, joining us throughout the evening. And before we get into it, let's take a look and fly around on the 7-kilometer racetrack with our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Spa-Francorchamps. Less than an hour's drive east from the German border, this Belgian track has come to define racing for many different eras in the sport. It's no wonder it continues to entrance drivers when you look at the stats. The 7 kilometers over the course of a lap includes more than 330 feet in elevation change as it weaves its way through the Ardennes forest. Packed into this is 19 turns, some of which are considered among the most famous in the world of racing. Corners like La Source and Blanchemont have been on the lips of drivers for decades. But by far the most notorious is Eau Rouge and Rétillon. Typically referred to in name by just the first section, it dips low and swings left, then compresses and climbs to the right up a massive hill. The sequence ends with a completely blind crest that sweeps to the left and leads onto the incredibly long Kemmel Straight. The bravery required to be fast through there will pay off towards one of the most popular passing spots at Lacombe. Eau Rouge is exemplary of the rest of the circuit though. Most of the turns are incredibly fast and many include much of that signature elevation change. As jaw-dropping as the track is, you have to remember that this is the modern truncated layout. The old one, raced until 1979, was 14 kilometers in length, yet carried an average speed of 150 miles per hour. Present-day safety measures do cut down on the danger, but even in recent history, the circuit has proven deadly. It's clear why this track continues to be revered and respected by racers the world round.
Well, we dipped behind the trees at the end of that track guide, and that's probably fitting because this place is surrounded by them. It is deep in the forest, or so it seems from overhead. Let's take a look and bring you into the picture here. Ozzy, what more can you tell us about this Gargantuan circuit? That's not how it's said.
Gargantuan, I think.
Yep.
And thank you, Ryan. Yeah, it's a staple of the motorsport world, isn't it? Like 7 kilometers long, 4 meters, added to that one, 4.5 miles almost, 19 corners. And there's not an easy corner on this track. You come to La Source hairpin, surprisingly tight, then up the hill, Eau Rouge, Rétillon, up the Kemmel Straight, and then Lacombe, and so on. And it's so winding, it's so fast, and one of the main things here that these drivers with these little Formula cars are going to experience is a whole lot of draft. You have to run surprisingly low wing here despite all the corners, and you're going to get a lot of overtaking opportunities onto Lacombe, Ryan.
Certainly are, and that slipstream going to be so prevalent. We'll talk more about it in a moment. As always, thank you to our main sponsor, SIMMSA. SimMSA Simulation Motorsports Affinity provides many consulting services from completely customizing simulators to managing teams, individual drivers, and complete events. They're working hard to bring organizations, companies, manufacturers, teams, and drivers together at one place to support and promote sim racing internationally. They're also bridging virtual and real motorsports by providing a network between these two, involving sim racers, real drivers, teams, managers, engineers, and of course, motorsport fans alike. You can find out more about how you can get involved at SIMMSA.net. And if you like the sound of that and you thought, hey, my company would look good in that position, well, you can make it happen. Because with over 1 million impressions each month, being a part of the Global Sim Racing channel is a great opportunity to get your brand seen by a wide audience. Just head to the link in the description to find out more about how you can get involved. Let's take a look at the championship standings then. In the drivers' standings, it's been a fight all season long, really, between Greg Seitz and the field. And he holds a 13-point lead now over Declan Eady. Nicholas Delt back there as well. Not too far away And then a bit of a gap back to 4th and 5th. Mark McDonald and Liam Quinn separated by a point. What about the team standings, Ozzy?
Well, the team standings, it's the same story that it's been all year long. Rust Racing Steel certainly not living by their name, having a 1-2 in the Drivers' Teams Championship, with Steel leading Iron. Of course, Steel is tougher, so no wonder the added carbon is really working wonders for them. Team Talent 3 wide, rounding out their top 3 with RSR Esport just 3 points behind, led by the efforts of Dick and Indy, of course, and then Lavoie Motorsports rounding out your top 5 in the Team Championship category.
Meanwhile, race details ahead of us, Ozzy. Can be that same great format we've seen all season long.
Yeah, and it is. I'm glad these races are so-called long enough. Too many series do like 20-minute races with open wheelers, and I don't think that's enough. Round 5 out of 10 at Spa-Francorchamps, 45 minutes long with open setup, so these drivers can adjust the car to their liking. And mind you, at Spa-Francorchamps, this is going to be especially important. You get a drive-through at 11 incident points, so don't use those runoffs too much. We've seen that being used in quite a lot of series in the past, but these drivers are going to have to be very diligent about it. 20 penalty points will earn you a disqualification, and we are expecting pit stops in this race as well, Ryan.
Yeah, we certainly are, and those penalty points, those incident points, notoriously harsh here at Spa and iRacing. Going to be a big talking point, I think, today, because a lot of drivers might push that envelope just a bit too far. Pit stops, though. Let's bring in DJ Clark. 45 minutes ahead of us. A big, long track. What a driver's going to make that trip to pits?
Well, Ryan, they're going to be looking to make that trip into the pits between about laps 8 and 12. That's going to be the optimal fuel window, or if you're watching the GSRC column up on there on the screen, with about 28 to 19 laps to go. Now, we're not going to see nearly as much tire degradation as we saw last weekend in Sebring. However, I do think that drivers, especially seeing how Greg Seitz was basically scuppered by not taking tires there at the end, everybody will be taking tires. Looking at about a 30-lap pit delta. It's going to be pretty standard. So we're going to just see what happens and have a good time and watch these guys go around this historic track for about, 20 or so laps.
Going to be good fun. Thanks for that, DJ. So let's head down and take a look at qualifying. At the moment, it's Mitchell Ian Green that has himself up at the top. Crucially, he's running behind Greg Seitz on the racetrack. So I dare say that slipstream may be working nicely for him. Nathan Lewis, though, he goes fastest, and Greg Seitz immediately knocks that one off.
Yeah, and it's going to be a draft fest pretty much, and you're going to need your teammates to work with you. Josh Chin, actually the winner at Sebring on the previous round, he's been fast during the middle part of the season. He has a draft potentially for him for the next lap. Not quite this one, got Wood and Delp ahead of him, working with him potentially on the racetrack. So that's going to be the main thing really drivers are going to be, hunting for that draft, because it does so much for you. You gain like half a second from La Source all the way to Lecombe, even more. And, Ryan, it's going to be such a big thing. And I wonder if we're going to see a little bit of teamwork play out here, or potentially a little bit of, unspoken alliances between these drivers, maybe.
Yeah, well, we saw it last week even between, Seitz and Green. They were drafting with each other all session long. And then, obviously, you've got all the way up through the main straight, up through Kemmel Straight. You've got here as well, through turn 18 and then into the chicane. 18, the flat-out kink to the left. Got to be very brave to try and make a move there, but it can be done if you get a good enough run, and it is where some of the most spectacular overtakes can happen in the history of Spa. To note on that pit lane as well, there's a few different variations of the pits here in Spa. We're not using the longest one, so that's going to be a big help to drivers in terms of judging where they're going to rejoin, because they're not going to spend about 3 hours touring the pit lane. They'll take the right just after La Source and dive into the lane from there.
Yeah, and meanwhile, I'm watching these guys go around the go around the track and trying to improve the lap times. And Greg Seitz 2:11.8 last time by, improving even more, just a little bit more, But Nathan Lewis actually taking the lead with a 2:11.3, and that's a great lap last time by. And I don't think he had much help either. I'm watching him, and he's currently all alone on the racetrack. Wonder if he had a draft up that Kemmel Straight, and nope, he did not. So Nathan Lewis just finding the pace all of a sudden, and I wonder if that's tires, and yeah, he's gonna abandon this lap with Michelin Green going second now, and letting teammate through.
So he had the toe up through the Kemmel Straight, and then he had clean air for the rest of the lap. And now he returns that favour to Seitz, so he gets a toe up into Lecombe, and now he gets clean air for the rest of the lap. Let's see what Ralphs can do as he comes across the line. Currently sitting an 18th. He'll stay there for now. So he runs it through Eau Rouge and then up to Radion. The everlasting debate of which one's Eau Rouge, which one's Radion. Radion's a bit at the top. Eau Rouge is a bit at the bottom.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. So thanks to certain YouTube channel for that one. It's been staple throughout the last couple of years. That's Radion, actually, hearing everybody mention, but we're gonna call it the Rouge Radion. We're gonna call it whichever is easier. And hey, for an Anglophone mouth, or even a Finnophone mouth for that matter, Rouge is easier. That's just an info bit for everybody.
Radion's terrifying. Coming up over the blind crest. Mitchell Ian Green on board with him. That's Greg Seitz up the road. He gave him the toe, and now he's behind him, following in his tyre tracks through that flat left kink, and then hard onto the brakes into the chicane. A lot of pressure on this braking zone because you're getting right to the end of your lap. Normally, the start-finish line is, well, here, pretty much, but it will be down on the run into Eau Rouge. So a little bit further for these drivers to go before they register their lap times.
Yeah, and Greg Seitz having 2:12.7 for the previous lap, but we're gonna get an update here where he's gonna fall into 2:11.5, takes the second place back, but despite the draft, not able to catch Nathan Lewis, who is on a great pace here today. And I wonder if this is going to be the kind of thing that lasts, or if he just found a great qualifying setup, because sometimes at long tracks like these with long straights, you're gonna be very well off with a little bit more wing, a little bit more downforce in your qualifying setup, whereas in the race setup you're just gonna be hunting for the top speed. And I wonder if the Rust Racing boys like Mitchell and Greg have gone for a little bit less wing on their qualifying setup to basically adapting from their race setup, whereas Nathan has made 2 different setups, and that is put to great use today. We'll have to ask him about that one later on, but Ryan, so far 3 minutes left, and drivers still shuffling for position out there on the racetrack.
Someone we saw just a moment ago who's struggling is Joshua Chin. He's only in 7th place at the moment, the number 93 man. He won last time out. He could have won 2 races ago as well, if not for some issues throughout the race. He's got a lot of pace. He's not inside the top 5 in the championship. He's slowly edging closer and closer, but right now, I think he's suffering from a lack of a teammate to help him right now.
Yeah, I think that's true, and that's such a crucial thing too. Like having a teammate who can help you, who can work with you on the out there on the racetrack, and who can for example, give you some draft onto the long straights. So it's one of those things that you're gonna suffer from here today. In race conditions, not so much, because you can't of course put your teamwork to such good use when everyone's in the end racing for themselves at Spa. So you can't really expect the Rust Racing guys, for example, to have a rear gunner out there. That's not going to be a thing that happens. So Josh might be rising up through the field here at Spa during race conditions, but the qualifying performance still, despite the lack of draft, only 2:12.6, and that's over a second off the pace.
1.3 to Nathan Lewis up at the front. It is a monumental gap, and that is all pretty much in the draft. Green wasn't able to do a good lap time that time. Neither was Seitz, because he had to lift off. Alex Goyon, he doesn't register a lap on that attempt. Lyndon Swaby will stay 9th. David Soror is getting a very nice toe up into the Camel Straight right now. He tucks out from behind Goyon as Chin doesn't improve. And there's Soror. Ducks in front of Swaby. And that is a very good toe. This puts him in good stead now for the rest of the lap if he can maintain the pace through, well, the tricky bits. The bits where we have to go left and right.
Yeah, the so-called technical section, you know, of this track, and the tricky bits are quite tricky, as you said, to handle, you know, going by the name and so on, because once again, they are so fast corners, and they will feel a little bit unusual with these cars, because this is a track designed for Formula 1 machinery, and it's great for endurance machinery as well, fast GT cars and so on and so forth. But I always found it lacking a little bit of that, you know, feel through the corners with smaller Formula cars, because it's just, in terms of scale, it's a little bit too big, and it's going to be a real challenge to, you know, push yourself to go fast enough into those corners.
Checkered flags crept up on us, and it's actually flown. So drivers now on their final laps of the session. I really did creep up on me there, I'll be honest about that. But it does mean we're going to see some times come in thick and fast. Greg Seitz will get to the line as one of the first drivers. He's looking for a 0.2 of a second improvement if he wants to overcome Nathan Lewis. He's got no one around him now. He'll cross that line in a bucket load of clean air. That's Andreas Eick, just a little bit further behind him on the racetrack. Through La Source, a little bit of oversteer on the exit. That might have hurt him. On the run down the hill, he goes, sweeping down towards Eau Rouge. What's the lap time going to be for Seitz? 11.4, goes quicker, but not quick enough. Andreas Eick, he doesn't improve. Who next? Alex Goyon, can he get there? No, he can't.
Oh, Mark McDonald improves a little bit, doesn't raise any positions, but goes right behind David in the standings, just 11 milliseconds off the number 6 machine. So those two guys improved a little bit, yeah.
Soroya improved massively. He found 0.3 on that final lap. That'll be thanks to that tie picked up on down the Camel Straight, don't forget. Michael Overbay, he will stay 13th. He did improve on that final lap, and that did put him up into 13th place. In fact, same lap time as Nicholas Delp. They're pretty equal, 13th and 14th. And here's Joshua Chin. Probably the final driver, I think, to cross the line. His best at the moment is a 12.6, as we've highlighted. Even if he finds 0.5 of a second, he only picks up 2 spots.
Right.
12 between himself and the next 2 McDonald's cars.
Yeah, Josh Chin actually on an outlap right now. Just a minor correction. So, you know, just went out there to test the conditions. I think that's a great idea to test the car in race fuel, potentially, just before the race starts. So, very crafty move from Josh.
You can see him fighting the car actually on the exit of that corner. So, as everyone's finished off their laps, let's take a look at the starting grid here at Spa for round 6 of the PRL Indy 2000 series. Nathan Lewis, he's got the pole from Greg Seitz. Mitchell Ian Green and David Sorrow will line up on row number 2. David McDonald and Mark McDonald will start 5th and 6th. Joshua Chin and Alex Goyon on row 4. Lyndon Swaby and Andrew Wood lining up on the 5th row of the grid.
Indeed, Daniel Cronefors and Daniel Ziegers. It's going to be all Daniels on row number 6 ahead of Michael A. Overbay and Nicholas Delp. 10th, Austin Espedy, 15th, Andreas Eick, 16th, Mark Ponik, 17th, with Armando Edwards, 18th. Aaron Ruffs, the last driver to actually get a qualifying time here, 19th. Then we got Jean-Francois Mattei, Owen Watts, Marshall Stanley, and Robert Land rounding out the last grid positions. And out of those mentioned, Robert Land and Owen Watts not going to start this race. So we are going to have a 21 driver field out here today, Ryan, and what an exciting race. As always, the prospect of racing Formula cars, even as tiny one as it is at Spa, it's always going to be exciting. You never know what's going to happen until the end.
We can answer a couple of questions about what we might expect. One of those is what the track temperature is. What are the weather conditions looking like for this race, DJ?
Well, we're sitting right now at a calm and breezy 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 21 degrees Celsius for the track temperature, and a 66 degrees Fahrenheit air temperature. Those are low track conditions. This is the morning here on iRacing, so we will see that rise probably 2 or 3 degrees over the course of the race. 82% humidity and wind out of the southwest wind out of the south, at about 7 or 8 miles an hour.
You ever considered a career as a meteorologist?
No, I never was good enough in science to be able to even go down that path.
That's a voice that I could hear reading me the weather all day long. Thank you for that. Nathan Lewis, then, he'll have the pole for this rolling start, and they line up on the back straight, so we don't have to endure a 30-minute pace lap. We'll get going pretty quickly here once everyone's gridded up. Behind the iRacing.com Porsche safety car. Now, in terms of getting away, going to be very tricky to do so because of that draft, isn't it, Ozzy?
Yeah, and it's going to be such an effect, especially because these drivers are not going to be at full speed heading through Rouge and Radion. They're going to come to camera straight with all these guys all stacked up, and we often see like 3 wides on the first lap just because of that one. PRL does a great job of policing that one though, so we're not gonna see any moves that are too courageous on first lap, I think, but still gonna be opportunities for these guys in the mid pack to get a couple of days to play the car fight.
And bear in mind as well, we restart after La Source. We start after La Source, so drivers going to want to sort themselves out quickly before they hit Eau Rouge and Radion. Remember, if you want to see where your favorite driver is throughout the field, no matter what we're looking at on the screen, you go to gsrc.tv for all your live timing needs throughout the course of this race, and all races coming forward as well on the Global Sim Racing channel. So we'll roll through the chicane, and pace car won't quite peel off just yet. It's normally where it jumps off, but those classic pits we're using means Nathan Lewis has got to wait just a little bit longer. This is going to be really interesting, actually, to see how the field sorts themselves out, because Eau Rouge and Radion are not corners you generally want to go side-by-side through, but you do feel a couple drivers might not have a choice when we get to the start. Pace car going to peel off. Field on the hands with Nathan Lewis coming to the green flag in Spa. Let's get this one underway, shall we? Green flag is out, and we are racing, and Greg Sykes, not a great start already. Some drivers left with nowhere to go, and this is going to be wild. Down through Eau Rouge, 2 by 2, trying to sort themselves out. Everyone makes it through. That's remarkable. And now the slipstream fest begins on the run up through the Camel Straight. Lewis under pressure, and to the outside comes Greg Sykes and Mitchell Ian Green. Down into Lacombe. Sykes going to take it away. Lewis will fend off Green and take second place.
Indeed, and Green all the way to the back as well in the start. So a great job from all of these guys. A really great job getting through a Rouge, getting through the camera straight, and getting through Lacombe clean as well. They're coming to the Brussels corner, and then turn 11, the old no-name bend, the current Jackie X corner, and all clean. And Nathan Lewis, despite losing the lead, he kept the second place. He didn't let Mitchell Green through, which is crucial in terms of the team games here, Ryan.
Yeah, Green could have really allowed Sykes to pull away if he managed to get in between him and Lewis, but that is crucial, as you say, for Lewis to split those boys up. Very good start from everyone in the field. There are some very close calls to Eau Rouge, but they all kept it off each other. And now we come up to the back straight, if you will. The run up through the kink and into the chicane. Does Greg Sykes have enough of a margin to be comfortable into the braking zone? Down at the chicane, Nathan Lewis was about 10 car lengths back already. It's been cut to about 5, 4. Here he comes. Green closing as well. Your top 3. Into the chicane, not close enough yet, but there's still 3 more straights to come. The first one is here for Nathan Lewis for the next big overtaking opportunity. And you would imagine that Greg Sykes might be a sitting duck when we get up to the Kemble Straight.
Yeah, indeed. So, Ryan, He's just gonna play his cards here. Nathan Lewis, gonna get a good run, and he doesn't want to catch you up too early into a rush. You don't want to catch up someone into the bottom of the hill. You want to catch them up top of the hill, and I think he's even let a bit of a gap through Lasource here, so he can catch him up here. Look at the uphill. He's getting closer and closer, and is he gonna go to the inside or the outside? To the outside he goes. Mitchell Green also has a 2-car draft, so he's gonna be a potential player in this one, but Nathan Lewis just going by on the outside, easy job, and Greg Seitz has been overtaken once again.
And Seitz didn't bother wanting to try and defend that one into the corner. He knew it was lost, so he was happy to just tuck back into the draft, and he'll sit there now for the next lap or so until we get back there again. David Soror, Mark McDonald 4th and 5th. No one has really broken away. I'd say the biggest gap is from Joshua Chin in 7th to Lyndon Swaby, Alex Goyon, who were 8th and 9th, and they've already swapped around on this lap. Oh no, big trouble, and that's Stanley and Overbay. You've come into contact.
Yeah, and Stanley and Overbay coming into contact as well, and Ziggers and Chronophos had a bit of a wreck in Brussels corner as well.
Yes, that's turn 10. You run down the hill, and taking a look at the replay, trying to decipher what's happened. Middle of the corner, the squeeze was on, and around they both went, and late into the picture, left with nowhere to go.
Yeah, and here we get one more look at it. So it's an aftermath of these draft battles down the long camera straight, which is these guys. Chronophos gonna be a little bit under pressure here, heading into the Brussels corner, the tight downhill hairpin. He's gonna have a car on the inside. He wants nothing to do with it, turning into the corner, and that's just, I don't think that's anyone's fault. That's just one of those racing deals, Ryan.
Yeah, Bruxelles going to be a very tough corner, as we've just seen. It's inviting, but it's also a bit deceiving as well. So lap 2 will get under the books and into the history books then, and it'll be Nathan Lewis leads us for the first time today, actually, to the line, barring the start of the race. Got a handy gap back to Sykes and Green, but it won't be enough. To note, Mark McDonald almost rear-ended David Soror coming into the chicane on the lap just gone. So he's looking very pacey there as well. As here we go for the lead of the race. It's on, and Sykes says, "Mine, I'll take it." Although Lewis fights back in the braking zone. He holds on.
Yeah, and he's doing very well there. And, we have seen Lewis having trouble at that particular corner here at Spa. Of course, not this Lewis, but yeah, Nathan Lewis retaining the race lead, saying to Greg that, not so easy. You're not going to get by me just yet. Mitchell and Green just sitting back and watching. And behind them, this is very interesting for David and for the other David and for Mark McDonald as well, because they want to be up to that lead back. They want those guys to battle. So seeing them play a little bit safer into Lecombe is potentially spelling trouble in terms of keeping up.
David Soror, David McDonald, and Mark McDonald. That's a confusing trio to be together on the racetrack. We got some info, though, from DJ Clark. I think this might be about the man that's peaked on the championship.
That's correct. Nicholas Delp running in 15th. He started 14th. He's currently back in a battle with Andreas Eick, Marshall Stanley. It's really a pretty good battle on track, but this is going to absolutely destroy any of his championship hopes that he may have as the guy to catch Greg Seitz as we go along.
We'll keep an eye on him. Thanks for that, DJ. That's a good storyline you've picked up. Nicholas Delp is a long way down Struggle Street at the moment in this race. Still, quite a long way to go, though, so he has got chance plenty to fight back. Speaking of which, Lewis has got nowhere near the gap he had last lap. Going to be a sitting duck for sure this time by on Kemmel Straight. As Greg Seitz, I thought he was faking the pit lane for a moment there.
No, he's just, he doesn't want to be in the draft because he doesn't want to catch up to Lewis too quickly, and he still does. Look at him up the hill here, and he's going to have to lift off here.
Oh, boy.
And that's going to give Mitchell and Green a chance here, going 3 wide, potentially.
That was a little bit hairy for Sykes as he caught him right up through Radio and had to duck out over the crest, and Green caught them very rapidly And as a result, all the momentum he had, he can't carry, and Lewis, through the braking zone, is able to hold on. They go side by side through Lecombe, and they come out the other side, but look how that's brought everyone up to them. David McDonald makes it Ross Racing 1, 2, 3, 4. David Soror, Mark McDonald, Joshua Chin, they're all back there now again.
Yeah, and, you know, I almost can't help but wonder if Nathan lifted just a little bit at the bottom of the hill on the run up to Eau Rouge, just to let Greg catch up to him quicker. But that's what happens here now. Mitchell caught up to them after that huge accordion effect on top of the hill. Then David and Mark, Seru, McDonald and Mark are going to be, you know, all up in that lead pack, as well as Josh Chin. And this is now a chance for the man who's won at Sebring. Josh Chin is in the tail end of that massive 7-car lead pack.
Seven-car train snaking up towards Blanchimont. And, well, if they accordion again up through Radion, you could see someone like Soror capitalizing majorly on it. And you've got to really start to play some games as well. You can do a little bit to try and defend. You can obviously make those little adjustments, as you mentioned, Lewis, potentially lifting off just a fraction into Eau Rouge to bunch sights up to the back of him at an inopportune moment. He can also move around the racetrack on the Camel Straight, not blocking, but moving his own lane and trying to shake the draft. As Sights, again, doesn't want to be in the draft. This time he's actually lifted off and he's staying well out of it. Now he tucks in for Eau Rouge. Watch this.
That's going to be a massive run, yeah, up the hill. And he did a great job there. Having a teammate behind you certainly helped there. And alongside he goes line.
Yep, he will carry the momentum. This time he clears him. Now to the Russ Racing boys follow. Lewis tries to cover. He did it too late. And he's got the inside for Lecombe. And he'll keep P2. A bit like lap 1, how that played out right there. But look how congested they are now. In the back half of the top 5, or middle of the top 10 even, as they all have to check up for the action between the top 3.
Yeah, and, you know, a pack like this, you're gonna see aggressors and you're gonna see the passive ones. Now, I think guys like David Seru, potentially Mark McDonald as well, they're gonna be the kind of guys who might just sit back and wait this one out, you know, see if anything happens between the leaders, and they're gonna get positions out of that one. But Josh Chin, I think, well, he's looking surprisingly passive in the back of that field here, leaving good gaps, and I was thinking he would be the one potentially, Ryan, to, you know, try and take matters to his own hands, try and get positions one by one, drafting guys, maybe going even 3 wide and trying to get his position into that top 3, but I almost wonder if is this strategy or is this just lack of pace from the man from Florida.
Interesting thing to note, 8th, 9th and 10th, Swaby, Goyon and Wood, they're all quicker than the top 7 at the moment. This could become a 10-car train in the not too distant future. You can see how much they're holding each other up through the middle portions of the racetrack, and especially up at the end of the Camel Straight. Look how close Lewis is to the back of Sights now. Now, yeah, Lewis, will he play the same games as Sights and trying to stay out of the draft until Camel?
Yeah, potentially, and he has a bit of gap back to Mitchell Green, because the thing that enabled Greg to do that lift-off is that he had a teammate behind him, but Mitchell taking a look to the inside, very aggressive to Olasaurus, not really an overtake, just to say, you know, I'm right here, you can't lift off too much, otherwise I'm gonna run, get past you before Rouge. But Nathan managed to do that, and managed to leave himself enough of a gap, and he's gonna be right in there, right in the mix, all the way through this long uphill straight line.
Sights drives it down the right-hand side of the racetrack. That's pretty much all he can do. He lifts off and lets Lewis go. Another thing to note with all of this, fuel saving. When we get down to pit lane, that's determining how fast you are in the pits. DJ, are you riding on board any of these guys? Have you noticed any fuel conservation happening? Especially the guys deeper in the pack.
Yeah, I was just riding on board with Joshua Chin, and he is not only shifting up to 6th gear a little bit early coming through Eau Rouge and Radion, but he is also feathering the throttle a little bit coming down the Kemmel straight. I think Chin is looking to just save as much fuel as possible, spend as little time in that pit lane as possible, and he may be on for a strategy to jump up a couple of positions once we start coming into the pits.
We'll keep an eye on him. Cheers, DJ. When we get to the pit stop window, we are 32 minutes still remaining in this race. We're about 15 minutes through, give or take a couple. Rust Racing do look ominous, sitting second, third, and fourth. It's giving massive free kicks to whichever one of these three want to play games of the draft, save a bit of fuel, generate a gap like Sykes was doing when Green was behind him. It's a big advantage they've got right now.
Yeah, they do. And, you know, all of those guys, they can play team games. They can maybe decide on who once again saves fuel and who is going to be the aggressor and put the challenge to Lewis so Lewis can't save fuel either. And that's the important thing they want to do right now, is not to enable Nathan Lewis to run his own strat. But Nathan looking pretty racy right now. He was sliding out of the bus stop chicane. And, you know, I don't think he's going to be lifting at all. I think he's going to take this one on the pace. And it's going to be pretty hard, Ryan, to, you know, okay, saving fuel, you may leapfrog positions, but in the end, you can't really save 2 or 3 seconds. I don't think you can save enough to leapfrog this whole pack and get out of the draft just by the virtue of that alone, because the pit stop here, it's so short.
Looking at lap times, the top 7 have all sped up now, and Wood, Swaby, and Goyon aren't really closing anymore, as Lewis this time does not come under fire into the com. That 9th place battle, though, while they may not be catching the top 7, they are closing in on each other, and Goyon is about to come under a lot of pressure from Andrew Wood.
Yeah, Wood pretty close up there to Brussels corner, and then they come up to Jack Leaks, and he's gonna have chances here. Guyon, I don't think Guyon is quite showing what he's capable of in terms of pace, and Wood also has the draft through Buffon. He's pretty close through all of these braking zones, and I wonder if he's just waiting to the run up to Blanchimont and make a move into the bus stop. And Lyndon Swaby behind them as well involved in the mix, and will be right there to pick up any positions should these guys go into a prolonged battle, Ryan. And you know, it's battles all over the racetrack. That's the nature of Spa-Francorchamps, and even behind the lead pack, these are still very crucial points for these guys.
Another thing we haven't seen is any of the drivers we've seen extending the track limits and pushing the edge there, because we know you've got to leave yourself plenty of margin at Spa due to how notorious it is for being very harsh and giving an off jack, even if you're just a couple tyres off the edge. So drivers have been leaving plenty of leeway there, as Mark McDonald really struggled through the chicane there. Car wouldn't turn, it wouldn't accelerate, and lost a bit of ground. Joshua Chin's right up behind him now, but doesn't look like he wants to make the move, at least not until the source.
Another thing to notice, David McDonald is steadily losing time to that top 3. Now, we talked about rear gunners earlier, and I don't want to be the guy throwing up conspiracy theories all over the place, but I wonder, is it almost intentional to secure his teammates at least a podium, as David is going to make a move here onto the camera straight?
This is David on David. Soror going to pass McDonald, who gets closer and closer to the right side. Can't go any closer into the braking zone. Oh, that was tight, and it's enough for David McDonald to hold the spot over Soror. That brings Mark McDonald. Joshua Chin, look at this. Greg Sykes on Nathan Lewis.
Yeah, he was all the way there throughout Lecombe, and not quite able to get the pass through. Great defense by Nathan Lewis. We saw it on the screens as well. You're watching 2 battles there at the same time, and Sirou can't get past David McDonald. And in the lead, meanwhile, Nathan Lewis not willing to give that position up. He's gonna want to be the windbreaker here. He's gonna want to sail all the way to the finish line in the lead of this race, but with each passing lap, it gets more and more difficult, Ryan. And I wonder, what's Greg's game plan here. Is he gonna pour under pressure? Is he gonna try to save a bit of fuel? What's he trying to do? And what factor will Mitchell, Ian Green, and David McDonald play into this leading squad?
Well, for Lewis, I'm concerned about how much fuel he's using up, punching the hole in the air for everyone behind him. For Sykes, he can roll off the throttle and he can still suck up to the back of Lewis by the time they reach the com, but he's not used anywhere near as much throttle to get there, so it's a real issue for him right now, but he's actually pulled a very healthy gap over this lap since that attack from Sykes at the beginning stages of the middle sector. Just lost it to the chicane though.
Yeah, and you know, for the back as well, things are starting to get a little bit more anxious. I was watching Mark McDonald earlier trying to pull it alongside David and not quite able to pull it off. That's the rule. And once again, the top 7 is all up together. So those gaps that were forming earlier, yeah, they've been caught up. And meanwhile, back at the lead actually, Nathan Lewis has managed to pull himself a bit away from Greg this time around. So it may not be as much of a clear-cut run this time around.
He ran wide through the source, which gave him the great run down the hill. Would have given him an off track as well, so we can't keep doing that. But on this occasion, it was good enough to sit him nice and comfortable. Down Camel straight. 26 minutes to go, getting very close to that pit window, aren't we, DJ?
Yeah, we are. I'm going to think you're going to start seeing guys like Lewis and Guyon that have been running in clean air for a while start to come in here in the next lap or so. Maybe guys that have been in the back like Chin could be coming a little bit longer, but we'll have to wait and see.
Certainly an opportunity to... Well, I think maybe you don't want to undercut because you don't want to be in clean air because... Well, you're going to lose a lot of time down the straights that you might not be able to get back up through the quarters. So it's an interesting little game to be played here, Rozzy, as opposed to your normal get yourself out of traffic and into clean air scenario.
Yeah, and it's a two-sided coin, really, as all coins are two-sided, of course. Kind of hard to make a one-sided coin because that would just be a ball. But yeah, so and even ball has an inside. But yeah, you know, you don't want to undercut too much and get into clear air. That's true. You don't want to overcut too much either because you get a slow lap. But then again, overcut is preferable because that lap is going to be faster due to the lighter fuel load. But then again, it is such a long lap. It is 7-kilometer lap, so it's going to be quite hard to save enough fuel to go around that long lap one time more than the rest of the guys. So it might be just down to a shorter stop as Greg Seitz goes really wide through the La Source hairpin right now, managing to keep it on track and communicating it well with his teammate and gonna get a great run down the La Source straight. And that's actually the La Source hairpin. It used to be an open road because this is all a public road, mind you. This is a public road section we're running through right now before we turn right onto the purpose-built racetrack. And that's where Keke Rosberg in 1983 used to turn left on La Source hairpin, run all the way up the road, and get a massive run in his naturally aspirated Williams back in the 1983. And he used to run during the race conditions, Eau Rouge flat out. And that's insane. But yeah, back to modern day, Ryan. What you got for us?
We saw a little bit of a battle with Honig back in 13th. In fact, it's still going on between himself and Andreas Ike down into the com, and Ike on the outside dives ahead of him in the braking zone and takes it away. Marshall Stanley is back there, and then that's where we find Nicholas Delp, 16th place. Still,
wow,
not finding any pace in that car.
No, not at all. And I was watching him first lap, as DJ mentioned. You know, he was all the way down to 19th earlier on, and he's still down to 16th. And during the first lap, he started 14th. He lost 5 positions there. So he's not a happy camper at all. And I don't think he's just finding the pace at Spa and finding comfort in a low downforce car that could play into it. That could very well be a factor. That or it is just an unfamiliar track for him. This is a man from the Virginias, and he may be more used to the oval tracks, certainly great at the oval tracks, and more used to the American circuits. So, you know, maybe Spa-Francorchamps is just a bit of an intimidating challenge for him and somewhere he is not comfortable with. suddenly, you would expect the championship runner-up to be higher up the order than that.
Well, it's only 1 round out of 10. You never know what may happen over the rest of the season, but this is a massive kick in the gut for him. And when it comes to his championship efforts, we're getting a replay. Yeah, who's this?
This is Wood, and we're gonna see what happened to Andrew Wood here. They come up to the bus stop chicane, I do believe, last time around, and gonna be under braking here. And oh, is he gonna spin all on his own? Yeah, he's gonna lock up his brakes and run wide. That's so easy to do there. Once you get your tires heated up, and your tires are gonna be heated up. Meanwhile, we should jump to 5th place where there's a great battle going on. Mark McDonald passing David Saru and Josh Chin in the mix of that one as well, Ryan.
Yeah, Chin just still sitting back, watching, waiting and learning, saving as well his fuel as Saru and McDonald exchange pleasantries in their battle for 5th. Has dropped them quite a bit off of David McDonald, though.
Yeah, and that's once again one of those things that Josh Chin is going to have to be aware of, in that, he can save fuel all he wants, but if this pack drops from the leaders, then there's very little he can do, because, mind you, saving fuel, it's all about saving time on the pit stop, jumping positions, getting track position in the pit stop, and maybe enabling you to change tires and still, stick in that pack. There could be multiple levels. Oh, and Mark McDonald runs very wide here as they come onto the straight line once again, and David Saru is going to have a chance here. Josh Chin, is he going to go 3 wide, not wide?
Do they go side by side through Blanchimont? Saru up on the outside, going to just tuck in behind McDonald. And now Chin's got a great run. What's he do with it? To the inside. Try to dive it on the brakes. He backs out of it. Doesn't want to be too aggressive here and cost himself a good top 10 run.
Yeah, and what he has here is chances now, because I think he realized when he looked to the outside that, hey, if I just wait to the straight line, to the Kemmel Straight, then Mark McDonald and David Saru are both going to be sitting ducks as they actually come to the pit lane. And Josh Chin, he goes on.
Oh no, this is bad news for Lewis. He'd opened up to about a second, but the Rust Racing boys have all pitted together. They're going to be able to work together on this outlap and slipstream with each other and give themselves the best run possible. Mark McDonald, David Saru have all come with them, seeing them all pit. Lewis, he's out there by himself now. Joshua Chin is also by himself. They're going to have to go almost purple through the rest of this lap if they want to avoid getting undercut by this big group of early pitters.
Yeah, and we had a tight situation there in the pit entry as well. David was awfully close there. Awfully close. David McDonald, we are on board him coming into the pit entry. And oh yeah, he almost ran into the back of his teammates. And that would not have gone over well on the Rust Racing garage. And I just want to imagine it's a garage due to that team name and not a fancy headquarters somewhere. But yeah, DJ, what do you make out of this one? We had 2 guys in the lead pack that did not hit, Nathan Lewis and Josh Chin, and then we had the huge pack that did.
I think by pitting as a group, those Rust Racing boys are actually going to come out ahead of this. I'm looking at times right now, and Seitz is about 29.5 seconds behind Nathan Lewis. If he keeps that up, unless Lewis just continues to push this, he's going to be able to get out ahead of him, and then the rest of that Rust Racing team can frankly just kind of get in his way as he gets up to speed. Chin, I'm not entirely sure about, but this is going to be interesting to see. It looked like everybody did take tires from what I could tell, but we will have to see as Lewis and Chin go around for one more lap.
Well, let's see. They're coming to pit entry now. Classic pit entry, don't forget. And Lewis, out of the source, going to continue. No, he's not. Into pit lane he comes. Hard on that brake pedal. Chin will come right with him. So this... Oh, Chin! He's locked it up, but he's actually slapped the fence on the right.
Yeah, I think he made the tiniest bit of contact there as well, so very close in that pit entry. Gonna want to save each and every second, and Ryan, we're gonna go to replay on this one, and Josh is gonna be in for a wild ride here.
It's a tough pit entry, because you're getting it slowed down from about 180 kilometers an hour, or just about there. And then you're angled to the right, but then you got to turn left as you jump on the brakes. Look at this. Right there, you can hear the touch.
Yeah, and Nathan Lewis got out well ahead of Greg Seitz.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, so he saved a bit of time there, and Greg didn't have draft last time by, and behind him, David McDonald passed Mitchell and Green, and Josh Chin is ahead of David Cerullo and Mark McDonald as well. So, you know, it looks like the overcut in the end was the preferable option, Ryan, and well, that's gonna be very interesting here.
Lewis was, what was that, 1 second quicker in the pits? Wonder if he opted not to take tires.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. That's actually a very good point. Could have been fueling a little bit less, maybe taking a couple of risks with the fuel, or he could opt to not take tires, and that's that I think that would be a very, very risky decision here on out, but it could potentially play dividends for him if he, you know, was thinking that, okay, the guys in the back, they are battling, and maybe they're not gonna try to catch me up. Maybe they think that, okay, they've lost the win, now they're gonna be fighting for the second place. But it's all so spread out right now, Ryan. It's all spread out, and I wonder now, are they gonna bunch back in, or is this gonna be basically, you know, Greg trying to catch up to the lead, and then behind him David and Mitchell deciding the third and fourth on their own, with Josh Chin trying to play catch up.
So if Seitz has taken tires and Lewis hasn't, Seitz will be quicker. But I think it's a good gamble if he hasn't taken them, because of how much pace a lap time the straight line gives you when you're in the draft. Once Seitz gets him and passes him, you can pretty much stick with him, thanks to the substream effect. So tire wear might not be as big a factor as you might expect, but keep an eye on it. Meanwhile, the battle for 8th place, it is still very tight. Andrew Wood, Espedy, Lyndon Swaby, Alex Goyon, all in this little group of cars, making their way into the source now.
Yeah, and this is gonna be an exciting battle all the way to the end, and I can't help but imagine those guys are gonna be already thinking about the final lap and what they're gonna do on the final lap, because they know that they're most likely gonna be here for the night. Alex Guillon, Lyndon Swaby, Andrew Wood, Austin Espedy, you know, those guys, they're gonna be running with each other pretty much the way things roll along. And it's now a matter of Lyndon Swaby. Will he wait, or will he get past him here to the inside he goes?
Yep, Lyndon Swaby makes that one work on Goyon. Now he's going to try to run away from him before they get back towards Blanchimont. And Andrew Wood got a pretty good view of that one, and he'll bookmark that and think, I would like to do the exact same maneuver on the next lap.
Yeah, he's gonna you know, be thinking to himself, you know, if you can make that work, then there's no reason I can't make that work next time by. But once again, as these guys are just, you know, not battling really, but passing each other each and every time there, and, you know, slowing each other down a bit on the corner entry, it's gonna give opportunities to Wood and SPD to catch all the way up to that one. And even Armando Edwards, maybe, because Edwards is now in a bit of no man's land here on the 12th place. He's 4 seconds behind these guys, 3.5 seconds behind these guys. And, you know, Ryan, if these guys actually start battling instead of just running behind each other until the last lap, then maybe it's going to be a 5-car train. And, you know, that's when we talk about winning and losing out in a battle, well, that's going to be a big thing for Armando Edwards if he can get into that battle. He's a shoo-in for the top 10, and he started this race in 18th.
Now, I'm just about to take a look, and we'll both see what lap time Nathan Lewis does. On the last lap, Seitz did a full lap. He did a 2:12.5. Nathan Lewis, this time by his first lap out there, since pitched up a 2:12.3 for Seitz, a 2:12.2. A tenth of a second quicker, but that's not quick enough.
No, and, you know, you don't need to be a mathematician to find out that it's not going to be enough until the end of the race. Michelin Green 12.3, McDonald 12.6, and Josh Chin 12.5. So they are all in the pack, as Seru and Mark McDonald are going to be losing out on that one very heavily. They are at 2:13, so they definitely were the kind of guys who lost out in the pit cycle. Actually, yeah, they are very much losing out. And once again, the mid-pack battle, Bjorn and those guys, Ryan.
These guys are still scrapping. While they continue to scrap, they'll cost themselves any chance of going higher up. But Goyon has got back by Swaby. Wood still hasn't been able to get by any of them. Espedy is still sat in 11th, just watching and waiting for now to see what happens.
Yeah, and he is in what we call the popcorn position, pretty much, Ryan. And meanwhile, further ahead, we got Josh Chin as well, side by side with David McDonald, trying to go around the outside, and through campus to the inside, and he makes it work. Wow, Josh Chin, and that was a brave move, and he lost a bit of time there. But I think Josh Chin is now saying, Ryan, you know, I have to go. I have to go. If I want to be on this podium, I have to get past David McDonald right now.
Yeah, and he's going to have to defend down through Blanchimont into the chicane, because David McDonald is right there with the run. Going to pull to the outside, so Chin gives him the inside for the chicane, side by side through the kink at 250 kilometers an hour at flat chap. Chin trying to range back around him at the chicane, but it's not going to happen. McDonald straight back through.
Yeah, but this is going to give a great run to Chin all the way to La Source even. I wonder if he's going to go to the inside here. He at least tries it. Doesn't go.
Doesn't go. He knows the Camel Straight is going to give him the run he needs until the com. Now watch this. The margin is 3 car lengths. Where does he catch him? It needs to be after Radion. If it's before, he's in trouble. And he will catch him after. Through Rouge, up the hill, into the crest. He catches him right at Radion. Now he pulls out, and this should be moved on. Their speed will equalise pretty quickly. Right about now, the speed equalises, and it's a drag race down into the next braking zone. And it's the inside line for David McDonald. Chin has to be really brave and hold the car on the outside. Supreme on the brakes, and he squeezes McDonald out of road.
Yeah, he was just ahead, so technically Chin was entitled to do that. He was just clear, not by much, definitely, but he wanted to get it done here, and he didn't want to give David any chance of coming back. Now he's going to have to nail this technical section, down Jackie X corner, towards Pujon campus, and all those places. He's going to have to be flying in order to drop David McDonald back, in order to catch up to Mitchell Ian Green even to the end of this race. Josh Chin, he could still be on the podium on this one.
He's got about 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds up the road to Mitchell Ian Green for that podium spot. 6 seconds between Lewis and Mitchell Ian Green. That's first to third at the moment. Sykes and Lewis pretty much ran the same lap time on the last lap as well, so it's looking pretty good for Lewis now. All signs pointing to the front for him, with under 10 minutes remaining here at Spa for round 6 of the PRL Indy Pro 2000 Elite Series on the Global SimRacing channel.
Yeah, and Elite is what these guys are doing here on the lead pack, and you can really see the elite of the elite playing out there, not on the leading pack. You know, 1 and 2, Nathan Lewis, Greg Seitz. Last time around, Nathan Lewis at 2:12.2. What's he's gonna make his time by? As there's actually a battle for into the bus stop chicane. Yeah, very close.
That was Andrew Wood got by Goyon. As he pulled to the inside of Goyon, he also covered off Espedy. He was trying to get by him. They've all gone by Swaby, who was at the head of this train a couple laps ago, if you remember. Through La Source, Goyon drops another spot, this time to Espedy. And I wonder if Wood's got enough up his sleeve to be safe into Lacombe as Espedy wanders across the racetrack. And Goyon's caught in a very awkward spot right now. Not going to have a great run. We'll have something, and here comes Lyndon Swaby as well. Goyon to the inside, Swaby looking for a way through, can't find one. Wood will be safe into the corner. What about Goyon and Espedy? They'll run wheel to wheel. And Goyon going to take that spot back away. Just covers him off into the left.
Yeah, and great job defending there and holding on to the, the runner-up position in that pack, which is kinda sorta where you wanna be maybe, because you have options for the lead as well. You don't wanna drop too far back and drop into the last place on the back. But then again, on the last lap, you might wanna risk a 3 wide, potentially heading into Lacombe and trying to get both of those guys maybe. So, Austin SPD definitely would prefer a 3-car pack rather than a 4-car pack, but Swady, he's losing just a bit of ground to these guys, so maybe he'll get his wish once we come to the final laps of this event. So, gonna be a nail-biter all the way to the end, and crucially, Alex Guillaume, he did a 2:15 flat last time around, and Armando Edwards behind them, as I mentioned earlier, 2:13.7, so he's catching up to these guys, but he's gonna have to catch up a little bit faster if he wants to beat there right at the end.
Still watching this group with SPD and Goyon. Wood has done a fantastic job through the middle part of the lap to break away from these guys, but into the chicane, SPD throws it in there. Clears Goyon, he almost got to the side of Wood. He was so deep, and he makes that one stick, and he might be able to go on and get by Wood. Up in the Camel Straight in a moment's time. Lyndon Swaby still lurking in 11th place at the back of this quartet with 6 minutes to go. About 3 laps left in this race.
Yeah, Ryan, and I think he took a page out of Danny Rick's book. Lick the stamp and send it to the bus stop, and he made it work. And here we have Chin and McDonald side by side once again, and McDonald's actually gonna get through.
He will. And that will resolve. Meanwhile, once again, SPD, Goyon, Wood. Wood feels the need to cover. Does SPD go for the big lunge? No, he doesn't. He's trying to fend off Goyon. And through Lacombe, wheel to wheel. And SPD will fend him off with the inside through 2 of those corners. Wood got very lucky that SPD was battling Goyon there. If he wasn't, I reckon he might have been able to have a look at him.
Yeah, and here's a mistake from
Goyon.
Alex Guillaume. Yeah, he bottomed out over that curb. He went too far to the right on the entry of Jackie X corner. He bottomed out over the curb, got a little bit sideways, and just couldn't get the car turned in. And here we're gonna see a look of that. And this just goes to show you how technical Spa-Francorchamps is and what kind of pitfalls it holds. Because, you might be thinking, okay, this is easy, they're just drafting each other, but they are right on the limit. And here we see Guillaume just behind SPD there, taking a look to the right, trying to maximize his exit, which is so crucial, run over the curb, and there we go. He went Tony Gardner skateboarding there, Ryan. Tony Gardner pro skateboarding, excuse me.
Tony Hawk, you mean?
No, Tony Gardner, Tony Hawk. It's a pun. Never mind. Racing.
Okay. Yeah, so, sorry. What that's done is it's allowed Swaby and SPD to get a free kick, and they've cleared a couple of seconds now up the road from Goyon, and Wood won't be enjoying that, because he's going to be under all sorts of pressure. 4 minutes, what's the official count? Should be 2 laps left, depending on when Lewis crosses. Here we go, Joshua Chin to the outside, up into Lacombe. Can he get it done? It's going to be last of the late breakers. That award goes to Joshua Chin. Great move.
Yeah, great move, but he's stuck in this battle now with David McDonald, and he doesn't want to beat her because he wants to be catching up to Michelin and Green, but he just can't ditch David, who's done a great job all throughout this event. He may not be the fastest guy on the racetrack, but he's definitely the kind of guy who can play with his team, work with his team, and also, has a great racecraft, knows how to battle, knows where he needs to be on racetrack at all times, and, could even find himself challenging Chin in that final lap as well, despite losing a lot of time here on the middle sector of the racetrack. He just has a car that works great on a straight line.
And SPD was able to get by Wood as well down at the same place that Chin made his move stick.
Yeah,
But as we've seen already, and so far today, even though he's got by, he's not really doing anything with it. He can't get away, and we'll see role reversal next time by with Andrew Wood looking to make the move, thanks to the slipstream and the slingshot.
Yeah, and there's one point we haven't talked about. Well, we briefly grazed it earlier on, and that's off tracks. Now, these guys have 2.5 minutes left in this race. We're thinking potentially 2 laps, maybe just starting the final lap. And Andrew Wood, he's gonna take more risks now. And I wonder how many off tracks do these guys have in a bank, because it's kind of like a choker lap in rallycross when you have off tracks left in store in Spa-Francorchamps. Make of it what you will, but these guys really use every inch of tarmac, not racetrack, tarmac, here on the final lap. You can run wide at Rouge, La Source, save a bit of time. You can run wide at the Jack X corner, save a bit of time. Pujon, save a bit of time, and you can even run wide as they come to that long back straight, as they come out of Stavelot. You can run wide there as well, maybe even Blanchimont. So, you know, you have 5-6 places where you can gain time on that final lap if you have the necessary currency, which is off tracks left in this race.
Well, I thought Wood was going to go for the late look there, but he opts to sit in behind. He wants to be the car behind, heading in to the final lap. Alex Goyon as well, by the way, has caught up to these guys. And he's on the back of Lyndon Swaby. Remember, this is a battle for 8th place. They're scrapping over 8th place at the moment. And they're 29 seconds away from the lead of the race now.
Yeah, so definitely not catching up to anyone else unless there's somebody runs out of fuel or something horrible happens on the last couple of laps. They're not going to catch up to anyone, but this is their own battle. And this is a great result for any one of these guys, you know, who just wants to be up there and wants to be in the mix, 8th place, and crucially, winning a battle. That's, you know, when you are in a battle like this, as a race car driver, Ryan, you don't really care what position it is for in the end. When you have that battle, you want to win that battle. That's what racing drivers do.
Red mist comes down when the visor comes down in SimRacing and Motorsport alike. We will get the white flag this time by. It's all settled, really, for your top 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spots. It is all about this battle for P8 from Espedy on back. And they are going to go right down to the wire through the chicane for the penultimate time. Espedy has not got anywhere near enough of a gap. He's going to have to really do something miraculous to hold this into Lecom. It's through La Source. Goyon thinks about a move on Swaby, but he can't make it stick, and Swaby actually runs just a little bit wide. One more time around here in Spa, the battle for P8. But this is what we're watching. Here comes Wood. He's got the run. Into Eau Rouge, up the hill, through Radion. Where does he go? To the right, and there's nowhere that Espedy can go to defend that. He's going to tuck in behind and try to come back at him. No, he's not. He left that very late. And, well, he's not going to get the run back. He had an opportunity, I think, to come back at him, but he was just way too slow to tuck back into that draft.
Yeah, and behind them, great battle still between Guion and Swaby. Swaby going to have to defend on the inside here. Guion's going to get a great run here on the outside, and Swaby left the door open for him, and he's going to try it into Brussels. However, nothing he can do there, so Swaby holds on to that 10th place for now. Espedy still has a chance, though, through the bus.
Meanwhile, up at the front, after being embroiled in a 7-car battle for the lead through the first stint of the race, the pit stops worked out miraculously well in his favour. And he now holds a 2.5-second advantage over Greg Seitz. Nathan Lewis, from outside the top 5 of the championship, is going to put his mark down today as he comes through the chicane from the pole. And he has fought tooth and nail. He overcame the 3-headed attack from Russ Racing and he's done it by himself. Through the source, Nathan Lewis. Welcome to Victory Lane. That's the checkered flag in Spa for Nathan Lewis. A good victory in the PRL Indy Pro 2000 Series.
Very much so, an excellent victory for Nathan Lewis, and I think that's the kind of victory he needs to, improve his standing in the series. Mind you, 3 DNFs in this season, and first win now for the man who's 24th in the championship.
SPD is not close enough. Oh, he really lunged. Carried a lot of mid-corner speed, but not enough. Wood will win the battle for P8 after taking it away on the final lap up the Kemmel Straight.
Yeah, and we still got Ponick and Stanley as well. Stanley's gonna look big to the outside. Nicholas Delp actually gonna pass him. And yeah, he's gonna give the position back. I think he thought he'd run him wide, and then Marshall Stanley's gonna be slow on the left side, and they're both gonna slow a bit down on the final straight, and neither wanted that 15th place, but in the end it was Marshall Stanley who got that one. So, both of them were just saying, no, you take it, no, you take it, and it's like, it's what happens when you invite Canadians to racing.
Exactly. Hey, let's go to a break here on the Global Sim Racing Shuttle. On the other side of this, stay with us. We'll come back with our full results and interviews here from Spa in the PRL Indy Pro 2000 Series. Welcome back to Circuit de Spa Francorchamps. I don't think I got that right at all today, but that's the pronunciation I'm going with. We've wrapped up here at PRL Indy Pro 2000 6th round of the season, and this is how they looked at the end of 45 minutes of racing. Nathan Lewis walking away with a fantastic victory. In the end, his margin was just 1.7 seconds, but dare say he lifted off on that final lap just to cruise home without issues. Greg Sykes comes home in second. Mitchell Ian Green right behind him. Then Joshua Chin and David McDonald 4th and 5th. David Soror and Mark McDonald 6th and 7th. Andrew Wood wins out that big battle for P8 ahead of Austin Espedy and Lyndon Swaby in 10th.
Yeah, Alex Dion was involved in that one as well. He ended up on the losing side of it. Started 8th, actually, ironically, and ended up 11th. And then Armando Edwards, he was getting close. He was 1.3 seconds away to the back of that train. Unfortunately for him, the race not quite long enough. Andreas Ike gonna finish 13th, Mark Ponick 14th, and Nicholas Delp runner-up in the championship, mind you, gonna finish 15th, ahead of Aaron Ruffs, Jean-François and Marshall Stanley, who I think had either too many incidents or a slowdown at the end that he couldn't clear, and that's why he's gonna be all the way down there, despite finishing pretty much alongside Nicholas Dell. And Daniel Cranfors, Daniel Zegers, and Michael Overbay are gonna be your list of retired drivers from this event. Just 3 guys, which in the end could have been worse, Ryan. And well, you're gonna talk to the happiest man in Belgium right now.
Nathan Lewis, victory must taste sweet today after the season you've had so far.
Oh yeah, honestly, I was surprised I was able to finish one because how my season's gone. I'll get some damage early, spin lap 1 and finish, or I'll not finish at all. So it was nice to be able to finish this one, get the win. Also was on top of it too, so it's like it was a bonus.
Well, I'm sure qualifying was a big part in that, putting yourself up on the pole ahead of the drama in the mid-pack. How much focus went into that qualifying performance versus race, trying to get yourself ahead of the issues?
Away, qualifying was going to be important, so I also knew you need to get a draft, and I was lucky enough. I caught Austin at exactly the right point where I was able to clear him before the long straight, so I was able to get 4 or 5 tenths, I think, on my lap I gained from the draft, so like I was able to keep it in. That's what put me up there, which I knew that was going to be hard to beat, so I was glad to be able to get to, because I've done a few fish races in mid-pack, it's kind of hectic, especially on lap 1, so I was glad I was able to avoid all that.
In terms of your race, the first stint was wild, about 7 cars deep, battling for the lead, including yourself and Greg Seitz going back and forth. You had the Ross Racing boys working together in tandem, and well, we were talking for a bit about fuel conservation, how you probably weren't being able to save as much, but your pit stop was still pretty quick.
Yeah, it was for sure. I think I didn't take tires, and I did go a lap longer than Greg did, and I noticed Greg took tires, so I think that actually hurt him a bit because you lose quite a bit on the outlap. So I think that was a big advantage because instead of him being 1, maybe 1.5, it ended up being 2.5. So I was able to push a bit. I had to save a bit at the end because I wanted to be 0.3. I was going to be 0.2 if I didn't have to sputter, but I do think him taking tires did hinder his chance of being closer.
Well, got the strategy call right, and we get to see you enter the victory lane for the first time this season. Hopefully, it's the first of many more to come before we wrap this one up. Hey, who do you want to thank for helping you get there today?
I gotta thank Mike, who does the setups and everything. He does everything for me. He does the work. I just drive, so it's nice having him around, so I don't have to do it. His luck has been great in the season so far, but at least we get one to show how good the setups have been.
Thank you for joining us. Good job once again. Go celebrate that victory.
Thank you.
It's Nathan Lewis coming home with the win, and now Aussie standing by with Greg Seitz.
Yes, Greg Seitz, who got his sights set on the victory today, but in the end finishing up on the 2nd place. Greg, it was a great battle up front, 7-car lead train all the way up to the pit stops. Was it a team call to come in 1 lap earlier?
Yeah, we thought basically we could pick up some time. I felt like we were being a little bit held up because he was fighting all the time. So, which is obviously his prerogative, and he's got really nothing to lose. But I had more at stake, I think. So I was trying to be a little more conservative, and I figured we would have fairly easily kind of leapfrogged our way back up to him. But unfortunately, I got out of the pits a little bit ahead of my teammates, so our strategy kind of fell apart, and I had a terrible pit entry too. I was super conservative, so yeah, it was a great plan, but it didn't actually hold up in practice.
Yeah, it's a good plan. That's twice in a trot now. You have lost a victory partially due to the pit stop. Is that going to be something you're working out throughout the rest of the season, or now that Nicholas Delp didn't have such a great race, are you confident that you can still, get to the goal of winning the championship despite not winning quite every race?
Yeah, I don't know that I have to win every race. Obviously I want to win, but I'm not going to take big risks. And like I said, on this one, I felt like Nathan wanted to race really hard, and I didn't really see the point in it, so I backed out a little bit. And like I said, in the future, I'll kind of judge it based on who I'm running with and which race and what's going on in the race. But I'm still just looking for really solid, consistent finishes.
Yeah, we got 2 ovals left from the last 4 races. We go the Worldwide Technology Raceway next week, and then we have Lucas Oil Raceway finishing up the season. How confident are you heading into the last part, the final stretch of your championship run?
Well, I think I'm pretty strong at the road tracks, but the ovals, well, honestly, I'm a rookie oval driver, so any kind of finish is good for me, and those are my biggest fears, is that the disaster strikes on those. So yeah, definitely not my strength, because I just don't do ovals. But I think the first time out we did okay with our oval. I got a bad qualifying, but in the end we got a pretty good result out of it. So hopefully something similar will happen on these ones. But the road tracks, I'm pretty confident, other than, something bad happening, that I'll be up in the top 3 or 4 on those as well, which is what I need to be able to do and continue to do, I think, to hold on.
Yeah, well, Greg, good luck next week. Let's hope it doesn't look like a horror movie. And, congratulations for the second place.
Yeah, thanks so much, and I want to shout out to our team again. We had a fantastic team finish today, and once again, we worked really hard. And thanks for you guys for putting on a great broadcast.
No, thank you, Greg, for racing as well, being here each and every week. And next up on the interview list, I think we are going to have Mitchell Ian Green there ready and waiting, and he's going to be in the pressure chamber, courtesy of Ryan Jones.
Yeah, Mitchell Ian Green, P3 on the grid, P3 at the end. How happy are you with that performance?
It's a huge relief because of the way my season's gone so far. So it feels really good to get a finish that I think I was able to. I think that I should have gotten earlier in the season.
Talk us through the battle early on with Seitz and Lewis up at the front. Seitz talking about how he thought Lewis was fighting a bit more harder than he wanted to fight at that time. What about you, sat there in third, watching them go at it? Knowing Seitz is leading the championship, how aggressive do you look to be?
No, I just, in that situation, I'm not looking to stick my nose in or anything, because God forbid I take out all 3 of us, and I just wanted to, I wanted to break the gap behind me, but I also didn't want to hold up Greg at all, so.
It was a good strategy. Obviously, you came in with Seitz. I'm assuming that was a team call. You guys all coming in together, thinking the slipstream effect you could get was going to work out well for you.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the call, and unfortunately, I put a little bit too much fuel in, and me and David got out a little bit too far behind Greg to make that strategy work today.
Well, P3, it's a good result. Gets you up on the podium. Maybe you can go 1 or 2 further. Next time out, when we head to Gateway or Worldwide Technology Raceway, how confident are you there back on the oval?
I'm the same as Greg. I'm a rookie oval driver. Not too great at it last time. I was just completely smashed from behind. That's how my season's going pretty much. And I'll work hard at it like we always do. And hopefully I can come up with a better result this time.
Who do you want to thank for helping you get there today?
I want to dedicate this podium to my dad. He's fighting cancer right now, and he's a huge inspiration to me. Whenever I think I'm having a tough time in life, I just look to him, and he's battling real hard, and I look up to him a lot. And I want to thank my family for watching. I want to thank you guys for the broadcast, and of course our sponsors, SIMMSA and ButtKicker.
A great result, and go celebrate that one with the team, and best of luck moving forward.
Thanks, guys.
Best of luck to your dad as well.
That was Mitchell Ian Green coming home on the back of the podium at the end of today. Final last little thoughts before we wrap this one up.
Yeah, typical Francorchamps race. A lot of overtaking, a lot of draft battles, and a lot of great racing. And I think it's a great result for Mitchell. For Nathan, sorry, not Mitchell. Of course, Mitchell to win one up finally.
Thank you, as always, to SimMSA for helping to make these broadcasts possible. And remember, if you want to be a title partner or be involved in these broadcasts in any way, you can make that happen. Just head down to the link in the description and you can become a part of over 1 million impressions each and every month and get seen by a wide and diverse audience. Thank you to PRL, Precision Racing League, for putting on this and so many more series that we love to cover. Thanks to the companies that provide all that software and hardware that make all of this possible. And Junior Londe, who provides all of our music. You can see on the screen how to get a hold of all of them. Thanks to the team with me today, Joe behind the scenes, Ozzy, and DJ Clark. You can find out more about GSRC as well, including upcoming races across social media and on the internet at globalsimracingchannel.com, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, Twitter at GSR Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Gram. The link to... you can head to YouTube and hit subscribe, and you won't miss any of the action here on GSRC. Next race of this series, we head to the ovals once again. That's going to be plenty of fun. Same time next week. But from all of us here in the booth, thanks for joining us. And until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.